it's a friggin' 10 grand road bike. It should be sporty and racy. It's painted red, for Christ's sake. Something is going on with the bike industry, and this has been eating away at me for the last 3 or 4 years. And finally, I've bitten. The fact is, 5 or 6 years ago, these mid-range bikes were more performance orientated, they were more affordable, and they were cheaper to run. So here's the thing. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through some of these mid-range bikes. I'm going to break them down. I'm not having a go specifically at these brands or these models because they are just an example of really everything that is out there. This is a long intro for me to basically say, this is a rant, guys. This is a 100% rant. Right, so let's jump online because there's a couple of articles and a couple of websites that I think really show what's going on here. Now, the first thing I want to show you just over here on the right is my factors for what I kind of think is killing this mid-range price range with the bike industry. They're heavy, some of them have got the wrong technology, boring paint jobs, confusing product lines, and just really inspirationless marketing, almost as though they don't want us to get them. So what I'd want to do is pull up this article from Cyclist Magazine. Again, I'm not having a go at Cyclist Magazine or these particular bikes. This is very much just an industry thing in general. So this article was termed affordable superbikes. And you can see across the top there, you're looking at a price range from around £2,000 to £3,000, which for us here in Australia is like $6,500. That's like, it's a good, solid chunk of change. Okay, so let's have a look at the weight of these bikes. We're looking at 8.5, 8.8, 8.8, 8.4. Some of these are almost 9 kilo bikes. Now, this price range of bike 5 or 6 years ago would have been closest to 7 kilos. Some of the Focuses, some of the Cervelos were even down around the UCI limit at this particular price range. And it just reiterates this thing to me that the industry is missing the point of that fun part of road bikes. That fun part of road bikes, which is you get on it and it kind of kicks away from you. You know what I mean? It's that sort of fun nature of the light bike, the super bike, okay? These are so far from that. They're like 1.5 kilos beyond that. And trust me, you feel that. The other thing, just in terms of specs that I want to have a look at here, is this concept I was talking about, which was wrong technology. This to me really confuses me because we've got hydraulic brakes on these bikes. Now, hydraulic brakes for you guys who know a lot about this stuff are incredibly powerful brakes. Incredibly powerful brakes. And you might sort of say to yourself, oh, well, what are you whinging about, Chris? If they're extra good at stopping, then why is that a big problem? Two things here, right? The first with hydro brakes is they're friggin' heavy. Like the reason that these bikes are so heavy is because they've got hydraulic brake fluid in them. That's one thing. The other thing is, well, it adds maintenance. And this is another point that I want to sort of get onto. This price range of bike, this price range is for someone who's going to put their bike away for a couple of months, a week or two. They're not going to touch their bike. They're not riding this thing every day. And if you do that with hydraulic brakes, well, there's going to be issues there. It's not like it's just a cable and a pad that you know is obviously wearing down or not wearing down. So that's what I mean by the wrong technology. The Willier Trestra. Now, far more expensive bike, isn't it? It's like 5.5. We are up around 10,000 Australian dollars for this cost-effective dream machine. Now, what does this cost-effective dream machine get you? It doesn't get your bike under 8 kilos. I'll tell you that much. It's over 8 kilos, right? So similar to my mountain bike. Similar to my gravel bike, which, again, whatever. Yeah, and okay, that's the weight issue here. Let's have a look at an actual picture of it. Okay, nice red, Italian red, etc., etc. Looks really good. But here's what I find is really quite concerning. Okay, so here's a $10,000 road bike, set up road bike. We're calling it like a super bike. And the low is saying is an aggressive ride position and a firmer ride. Now, I don't understand why a road bike that is trying to impress as a race bike is telling us that its aggressive ride position and firmer ride is bad. Now, let's have a look. What tyres do we have on this? We have 25mm tubeless ready tyres. So, it's gonna be pretty damn comfortable as far as I'm concerned. There's two more elements that I want to talk about here, and we're gonna jump onto the Giant website to talk about them. Now, Giant, I think personally, are one of the brands doing this price range the best. But it just seems to be, even then, missing the mark. So let's have a look. Let's go bikes, let's go road bikes, okay? Now to start with, when you click on bikes and you go over to road bikes, and there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things under road bikes, it gets confusing. But let's just assume that we have a rough idea of what we're doing. So we're gonna go into road bikes. And let's have a look. So this clearly is sort of an 8,000, looks like it listed at the top, the Propel. So you're gonna say, okay, that's the super fast one. No, that's not for me. Okay, the next one down is the TCR Advanced SL Disc with 2 models. Okay, in this sort of price range here. But let's say this Advanced Pro, okay? Now, my 2 issues with this at the moment, okay, is the confusing product lines to start with. You've got, for someone looking at these bikes, you've got, what are we looking at? 5 bikes? 5 bikes that basically all look the same.
The second is just the paint jobs. A quick look around some of the bikes in this price range and you will be so uninspired by what you see. And sure, you might just quickly say, oh, Chris, they've got to play it safe. This is that kind of price range, etc., etc. Well, it's not that kind of price range to start with. It's 10 grand half the time. But also, what is one of the most inspiring parts of bikes? They're meant to be sexy. They're meant to look cool. Looking at just a collection of uninspirational, monotone bikes is not doing it for anyone. And I'm not talking about turning these things into fluorescent pink Cipolinis. Just some lines, something to create a little bit of relevance, something that when you look at the bike, you go, oh, geez, yeah, I really want to jump on that. Those bikes exist. They're either in right at the top range or they're in gravel bikes. Those sexy, cool-looking paint jobs are in those product spaces now. And look, it's nothing particularly here against Giant, but one of the best bikes spec-wise in this product space is just a black bike. And you're like, oh God, you've got 5 models. You've given us 5 models here. Give us something to work with.
The part of the bike industry which I think is the most important, like anyone who comes to me and wants a suggestion on a bike, I would always be pushing them towards that mid-range bike because that's what I would see as the sort of value place to go. So the cynical part of me at the moment is suggesting that what's happening is we are turning that middle ground into gravel bikes, okay? Because they're heavy, they've got big wheels on them. And just like that review of the Villiers one, where the guy said, oh, it's too sporty, it's too racy. I'm like, it's a friggin' 10 grand road bike. It should be sporty and racy. It's painted red, for Christ's sake. So, to me, I just feel like there's this whole push that's happening. And you look at the marketing. You look at the marketing in that space now. It's boring marketing. It really is. And whereas you look at the gravel marketing in that same price point, and it's like, look at what you can do, all this exciting stuff you can do on that bike. So I'm really concerned that what we're doing with road biking, or road bikes, is we're just going to make it a premium product for people who are serious bike racers. And okay, entry level, sure, you can come in, but the middle people, no, you got to ride gravel bikes. You got to ride slow, heavy gravel bikes because these things aren't for you. So keep an eye on it, guys. I would love your thoughts on this. I really would love your thoughts on this, because I think we as a collective at this point need to start keeping an eye on this space, because I genuinely think it's the most important space in the cycling industry in terms of getting more people on bikes. All right? More people racing bikes as well, because you can't friggin' race a bloody gravel bike. Anyway, I love gravel bikes, as you know. Thank you so much for watching. I promise tomorrow or the next day will be far more positive. We'll be talking about things like, I don't know, lettuce. And what am I talking about? I've got it all hot under the collar. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like these videos, and we will talk to you super soon.